David Lynch's cult classic television series, Twin Peaks, just came back with a new episode. It has been 25 years since Season 2 ended, and in that time the show has received a tremendous following. This episode has been building a lot of hype over the past few years, and some people never thought we would get another Twin Peaks episode. I'm not going to go into full detail about Twin Peaks, but for those who aren't familiar with the show, here's a brief rundown. The first season premiered on April 8, 1990. The show's first season was a huge success with both critics and audiences alike. The show takes place in a small town called Twin Peaks. The story begins with the discovery of Laura Palmer's body. FBI Special Agent Dale Cooper is called to investigate the murder, and in the process uncovers all manner of secrets. The show was designed to be a spoof on 80s television dramas, but it was a little more than that. Instead of being pure camp, the show knew when to play it serious and when to be weird and goofy. This is all backed up by an amazing soundtrack, courtesy of Angelo Badalamenti and David Lynch himself. There really wasn't anything like it at the time. It was a soap opera, a spoof, a serious detective story, and a mystery with interesting characters and various fantastical elements thrown into the mix. There are also a few scenes that are truly horrific. And the fact that this all aired on network television seems like a weird social experiment in hindsight. Then Season 2 aired. There are a lot of people who don't like Season 2. Personally, I really like Season 2, but I have to admit there is a huge lull near the middle where the plot just seems to stagnate and characters set off on uninteresting story arcs. Another reason is they solve the murder. Some people like the mystery of not knowing which character did it. Also, this kind of kills Agent Cooper's purpose for being in town, but he sticks around. Luckily, the show picks up when Wyndham Earle enters the story.
Once upon a time, there was a place of great goodness called the White Lodge.
He was such a great antagonist, and the show had a solid finale that left you wondering what would happen next. So I like Season 2. But I have to admit, there is a solid chunk of episodes that are really dull. Then there was the movie, Fire Walk With Me, that was a prequel following Laura Palmer. It's a good film, but I only think it's interesting if you like Twin Peaks. I don't think it holds up on its own. Now we get to Season 3, the new season. We got a nearly 2-hour-long premiere, so what are my initial impressions? Well, the show is cryptic and weird. Yeah, cryptic and weird. Just the way you ordered it. Well, maybe a little different. Like, the burger is the way you like it, the ketchup is present, pickles are all in attendance, the bun is slightly toasted, there's some onions on it, but you like onions now, so it's okay. They even added a little extra mustard the way you like it, but there's mayonnaise on it, so you can either man up and eat it as is, or try to scrape off the mayonnaise. Basically, that's how I feel about this episode. Well, let's get more specific about this. On the whole, I like the first episode, but I think we may be heading for a much different kind of show. I think Lynch's visual storytelling is as strong as ever. We get a lot of scenes that focus on character movement, and not just big motions or gestures, but, the small, everyday kind of things that most editors would cut out of a film. It's well lit, and we have some great shots in the first episode. This episode is a little heavy on visual effects, but most of them seem very simple and things that would be achievable with 90s technology. The music is great, and we get small doses of the main theme. There's a scene with a car driving down a country road with a hard drum beat that really sets the mood until the vocals kick in. I think the music is solid, but I am worried they're going to overdo it. Now David Lynch is much more involved with making music, and I have a feeling we will get a lot of his tracks in this season. This could be amazing or horrible, but I think it's working so far. There's even a scene in the bar with a band that sounds just like Julie Cruz did in the original show. A large portion of the original cast has returned, and you see them in this episode. I won't name them all, but I like the little Lucy scene we get. Hawk gets a cryptic phone call from Log Lady, and I really like the scene with the Horn brothers. It's a small scene, but Benjamin Horne has changed a lot since the events of Season 2, but I think Cooper's character is the one everyone's really interested in. Kyle MacLachlan reprises what many people think is his best role. And for reasons I won't get into, the Cooper we see is a lot darker and has crazy hair. Yeah, great stuff as usual from Kyle MacLachlan. We also get some new actors. Ashley Judd is Horne's new assistant, and Matthew Lillard. Can we talk about Matthew Lillard? What happened to this dude? He was in a ton of stuff in the 90s, then he makes Scooby-Doo and just disappears. Where did he go? Has he been here the whole time? Why haven't they rebooted Hackers? Well, he's in this, and he gets charged with a murder. Madeline Zima from Californication has an appearance. She gets naked. And there are a bunch of others. You all have IMDb. You can look at them. So I think all of the elements are here. And they're working well. The big change for some people will be the setting and scope of this new season. The show seems like it's going to be much bigger. Like Fire Walk With Me, this new season takes place largely outside of Twin Peaks. Coop is on the road, and we initially follow a murder in a different town. I liked all this stuff. Coop's mysterious mission and new posse are all intriguing, but it didn't have the same personal focus that the original show had. By the end, it's clear all roads lead back to Twin Peaks, and I think the next episode will be set in town. Well, we got a lot of new characters who I don't think we'll see again. We get a hint towards the end of some emotional connections with two original characters, but this first episode was focused on Agent Cooper. Also, I have some concerns about the first subplot we get. So this murder happens, and they pin the thing on Matthew Lillard's character, and we spend a lot of time with him. Then Coop shows up and offs his wife. I like this. I thought it was intriguing, but I really hope they return to this subplot. Otherwise, I feel like we wasted a lot of time introducing characters we may never see again. The mystical elements are blatant, and we see a lot more of them. I do think these elements service the plot, but the original show used a lot of the weird stuff very sparingly. This may have been a symptom of a low TV budget at the time, but we got a lot of the weird magical stuff in small doses. In this episode, we get a ton of it. I hope they back off of this a bit. I think it's more interesting to leave a lot of these elements unexplained. I think they will likely show more violent scenes, like the crime scene we get at the beginning of this episode. Part of the weird eeriness surrounding Laura Palmer's death is that we didn't see all the horrific details, and even Laura's body was covered. This new episode, it seems like they're going to handle that a lot differently. Hopefully they won't be too edgy this season, and they seem to have dropped the campy soap opera vibe. I'm not too worried about this. I think we will come back to this in the next couple of episodes, but it's not in the premiere. This premiere is setting up a much darker and overtly weirder story. It is noticeably more modern, but that was unavoidable. So I think all of the appropriate elements are here, and I think they're working pretty well together. I think the show's missing a lot of the fun, quirky elements the original had, and some of the emotional bits. We're not eating cherry pie and drinking coffee, but these elements may pop up in forthcoming episodes. The bottom line is, this isn't your original Twin Peaks. Not this episode, anyway. There are distinctly recognizable elements, and David Lynch's style is very much intact. I think the big make or break for people will be the story. And this is going to be an 18-episode season, so all of this can change. I'm interested so far. I think the majority of things that I loved from the original are here, and I'm hoping we get more lightheartedness in later episodes. Let me know what you think. Is this show like the original? It is admittedly a totally different story. I was definitely more interested in the technical aspects of the show. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you want to be back at the Double R Diner? Are you waiting for someone to say something meaningful yet sappy as the bass from the main theme punches in? Let me know how you feel about Cooper's new hair.